Well, hello, Giant fans. How y'all doing? Um, just finished watching the playoff games today, and they lived up to the hype. Um, they were excellent games. Cincinnati winning on the road in Kansas City, coming from behind and sending Patrick Mahomes packing. Joe Burrow is phenomenal. He made a couple of plays with his legs, big plays for first downs. And, I thought when they didn't get the coin toss, I thought the game was over. I was like, game's over. Patrick Mahomes is going to do it. But you got to tip your hat to Joe Burrow. He played a hell of a game. And, you know, this is what we want Daniel Jones to be. Just finished watching the St. Louis Rams. St. Louis Rams. Jesus, I'm going way back in the past. Los Angeles Rams. Pull it out. Another come from behind victory. The defense stepped up big in the second half. Jimmy Garoppolo really couldn't get nothing to Deebo Samuel. It was sad to see, Deebo on the sideline crying, being emotional, but that's just his passion for the game. You can't expect anything more from a player. And even though they lost the game, it was good to see. It was good to see him emotional like that. It was good to see him, you know, love the game like that. And even though they lost, that was still a good sight, to see. Now, getting back to the Giants, uh, I did another mock draft, like I said I would after the playoffs, and I made a couple of trades. And once again, this is a computer simulation, so the computer isn't going to just take my trades. It's going to take trades that are feasible, and realistic. It's not like I'm a trade the fifth round pick to the Giants and get somebody's first round pick back, for nothing. So this actually worked out. I think this draft is phenomenal. We got some value players at the end. And with this draft in particular, this mock draft in particular, I actually traded our first round pick in the second round to move back up and take a player. So it actually worked out. I'm gonna pause it real quick to show you what I did with the trade and the players that I got, and then we'll explain it. And then we're also gonna talk about the New York Knicks, who are in a situation where players aren't performing. They got big contracts, So we're gonna talk about that. But just give me a moment while I pause it, and I'm gonna restart it to show you what I did, what's going on, give you an explanation of the players that I chose, and then we'll go from there. And you can leave comments and everything. So just hold on one bit. So as you see, I traded with the Minnesota Vikings, and I actually traded, like I said, our first round pick in the second round, number 36 overall, our third round pick, number 67, and I traded our first and second round pick next year. And in turn, Minnesota gave us their 12th round pick and their second round pick, number 46 overall. So, and I'm going to explain to you why I did it. If you look at, let me just bring this down real quick. Okay. So as you see, um, with our first round pick, number 5th overall, I took Tyler Ikem Ikwanu, Icky, as they've nicknamed him. Offensive tackle, North Carolina State. Then I also took Tyler Lindenbaum, offensive lineman, Iowa. Then with Minnesota's first round pick, I took the linebacker out of Utah, Devin Lloyd. Then with the 46th pick in the second round, I took the big man from Georgia, Devontae Wyatt. With the 81st pick, I took Jalen Windemeyer, tight end from Texas A&M. With the 108th pick, I took Hassan Haskins, running back, Michigan. Number 145, and this is what I like. He's a developmental player, but I took Boye Mafe, edge rusher from Minnesota. And if I can just get these last couple of picks. And then I took wide receiver from North Carolina State, Emike Emeze. And then with the 181st pick, I took Matt Ariza, punter, San Diego State. Now, you're going to ask why I took the players that I took, and I'm going to explain that to you real quick. I felt that trading up in the draft was good for us. This is a very talented draft. This is a draft that can help the Giants immensely. With the holes that we have and the holes that we're going to have, because I feel that we're going to cut a couple of players because of our salary cap issues. So this is just my personal opinion. I feel James Bradbury, Blake Martinez are going to be gone. Sterling Shepard, most likely 90% is going to be gone. And that's going to free up a lot of money for the Giants. We can't get rid of Logan Ryan. I wish I could. But his dead money, if we cut him, is only going to be like $700,000 or something like that. So it's not even worth it. So I think we'll have to deal with another year of him. But as I said, taking Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle, North Carolina State, that's an obvious fit on the right side of the line. He'll play opposite Andrew Thomas. Tyler Lindenbaum is going to run the whole show at center. Devin Lloyd, he gives us the opportunity to cut Blake Martinez and to also get younger and get a player young that can go sideline to sideline. And he can also cover. Devontae Wyatt, defensive lineman from Georgia, big body, run stuffer, and could take some of the pressure off of Leo. He's more of a Dalvin Tomlinson type player, just bigger. And I think he's really going to help that defense and really get these edge rushers, pending that we stay in a 3-4. And I'm also going to explain why I took one of the players that I took, just in case we go to a 4-3, because he's a big body. Jalen Windemeyer is an obvious choice because I think we're going to lose Evan Ingram in free agency. I think he's going to go elsewhere. Hassan Haskins, running back from Michigan, big body. Can run in between the tackles, get the tough yards that Saquon obviously doesn't want to get. 6'1", 220 pounds, doesn't mind contact, Doesn't mind lowering his shoulder. Um, he's a do it all type dude, and he could catch passes out of the backfield. Now this is the one that I was talking about. Boye Mafe, edge rusher from Minnesota. He's about 6'5", 265 pounds. Me personally, I think with Joe Schoen and Brian Dabo, I think we're going to wind up switching back to a 4-3, which is why I took this pick. And I think we're better off being a 4-3 team. The 3-4 is a copycat league. Baltimore's been playing the 3-4 for years. And they've had top 10 defenses, so everybody now wants to switch to a 3-4. And I find it ironic that Buffalo mainly played in a 4-3. So I think it's kind of obvious, not obvious, but I wouldn't mind if we went to a 4-3. And the Giants in our heyday, when we were dominant as a defense and on the defensive line, we played a 4-3. So I wouldn't mind that at all. And the next pick, Emeka Emeze, wide receiver from North Carolina State, big body, 6'3", 210 pounds. He's gonna play opposite of James Bradbury. We're gonna move Kadarius Toney into the slot. Once we cut Sterling Shepard, and I think he's gonna be a hell of a player. Matt Araiza, punter from San Diego State. I fell in love with him. He's got a big leg, and I'm just so sick of Riley Dixon. So, you know, I mean, you could have went backup quarterback. Billy Zape, I believe, was gone in the third round. So you could have took a developmental project at quarterback, but I didn't want to waste the pick. Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. There's rumors that the Giants are also going to try to bring Mitchell Trubisky over. So this is going to be like the the New York Giants slash Buffalo Bills connection, because we seem to be taking all their head coaches and GMs and everything. Now, speaking on the Giants, they need a defensive coordinator. I heard Wink Martindale. His name has popped up, the defensive coordinator from the Baltimore Ravens, ex defensive coordinator, because Harbaugh let him go. But he also interviewed for the Giants head coaching job when Joe Judge got it. So the Giants do have a rapport with him. Not a rapport, but they know who he is. But he's a heavy blitz guy. He's a 3-4 guy, and he's a man-to-man cover guy. That's why I think James Bradbury will be cut, especially if we get Wink Martindale as defensive coordinator. But that remains to be seen what the Giants do and what direction they choose to go in. But this draft, like I said, it solves a lot of our needs. Offensive line will be solid. Defensive line with Devontae Wyatt, solid. Devin Lloyd as a linebacker, and that's not saying that we cut Blake Martinez. We could still, cut him and then re-sign him and restructure his deal. So if Blake Martinez comes back and you pair him with Devin Lloyd, that's a hell of a nice linebacking core, and then they could hide the deficiencies at the weak side linebacker of a Tay Crowder or a Jalen Smith, who's still not 100%. I feel since the knee injury and everything, and since he got cut by the Cowboys and learning the new system as well. A lot of people are saying, why would you cut James Bradbury? I would cut him for the salary, and also because we have a lot of young defensive backs. We have Julian Love, who's a Swiss Army knife. He could play safety or corner, and he has the experience doing all four positions, really, in the secondary. Free safety, strong, playing cornerback, playing in the slot, playing on the outside. We also have Darnay Holmes, who we could put in the slot, and I think he's going to be a great slot defender. And we also have Aaron Robinson, and we also have our draft pick. I believe it was in the 6th round, Radarius Williams, coming back from an injury from Oklahoma State, and he's a hell of a player, talented, but young and raw, but talented. So, I think this is good for the Giants if that were to happen. I think that you know it allows us flexibility, and it allows us to develop our young players, which Joe Shane said he wants to do, and coincides with Brian Dable's philosophy as well. And taking Jalen Windemeyer, nice tight end, 6'5", about 250 pounds, runs routes and he blocks. Which is something that Evan Ingram wasn't too keen on. And he doesn't drop passes, which we all know Evan Ingram has stone hands sometimes. So, look the draft over. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about it, and leave your comments below, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. But I think that that'd be good for us. And I think we need to be aggressive. I think we need to trade up back into the first round and get these talented players and get them into New York, and not just sit back and be like, okay, we're gonna wait and see what player falls to us. We need to be aggressive, and hopefully Joe Shane and Brian Daboll and the defensive coordinator, whoever it might be, has that same philosophy, because we've been very passive in the draft. Last year we were a little aggressive. The Chicago Bears wanted Justin Fields, and we took advantage of that and got a first-round pick out of it, which we have this year. So now we need to utilize that. And we also need to be aggressive and trade back into the first round and get a player that can help us and that can start right away. And that's why I did the Devin Lloyd trade, because he can start right away. He's a day one starter, and that's what you want in your draft. You want guys that could come in and contribute from day one, not developmental projects as, a first round pick or a second round pick. And Iggy Ekwonu, Tyler Lindenbaum, Devontae Wyatt, Jalen Wyndemire, Devin Lloyd, you can't tell me that those guys aren't starters. You can't tell me that. I wish that I had a system set up where I could show you actual footage and clips of some of the players, but you can look them up online. Hopefully the system will be a little better and I'll be able to do that. But I'm going to end it now. I would like to hear your comments on that, because I think this was a real good mock draft for the Giants. And don't forget, there's also undrafted free agents. We could have took a corner, we could have took a safety, we could have took a kicker, but we could get them as undrafted free agents. It's not the end of the world because we didn't take one. I just felt that punter was a real need because Riley Dixon blows. So that's why Matt Araiza was my last pick. But leave your comments and I'll get back to you. I want to engage. I want the interaction, and I want to know what you think. You know, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And thank you for tuning in. And things are looking good for us. Things are looking real good. Um, and whoever the defensive coordinator might be, I think will be just me as a football fan. I think that we'll have a defensive coordinator signed by the end of the week, because Joe Shane seems to be moving this process along and wanting to get his coaching staff together with Brian Daboll and knowing who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, etc. from a coaching standpoint. So I think the defensive coordinator will be signed by the end of the week. And it's also said that we were looking at Ken Dorsey to bring him over from Buffalo to be the offensive coordinator. So, we got some interesting things that are going on. So it's going to be nice to see how things play out. But right now, I think we have a good structure with Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. And, build this team from the ground up, man. Build it from the draft. And that's why I was aggressive with this draft in particular. I know I gave up a first round pick for next year, but Devin Lloyd is a stud. He's a stud. You know, he's arguably and probably the number one linebacker in this draft. And our problem has been at the linebacker position. And, we haven't had a good linebacker since Jesse Armstead. And before that, was the great Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks and Gary Reasons and stuff like that. So I'm gonna wait to hear your comments, and I'm gonna end it on that note. And thank you very much. And I'm also gonna drop another YouTube channel as far as the New York Knicks go, because there's a lot of rumors that are going around with the Knicks. So tune in for that, and I'll see y'all in a bit. Thank you, and God bless.